All right, we are live. I'm with Jessica Campos today, and she is one of the owners of Marketing for Greatness. Alex is a little bit under the weather today. I think he break a toenail or something, Jessica, and he doesn't feel good.
He got sick. He cannot speak. So that's why I'm gonna do my best to represent the AI for the underdog today.
And
Thank
I
you
know
for
you're going to do good.
this
You
time.
know, Jessica is going to tell you her story, and it's a really interesting story because I've spoken with her plenty of times, and she's going to tell you how she was an attorney, and I mean she's just this brilliant woman, man, and it's unbelievable the talent that she has. But I'm going to let her talk, and today, folks, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Jessica's going to talk about how she uses AI in her business every day, and then I'll talk about how I use it. We do different things with it, and you know, they're way far advanced. Like Alex is like a prompt engineer, and I've learned a lot from Alex, which is cool, right? When you meet people that know more than you, then and everybody shares their ideas and their information, we all get really good at something. So, Jessica, take it away. I can't wait to hear how you use AI.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you asked me about my story, so I'm gonna be really quick. First of all, I am part of the team Underdog. A couple of bullet points about my underdog story. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. And sometimes people are born with opportunities. Some of them are just not born with opportunities. I was one of those in the second category. Joe, my family live right now in a property that was given to them for $1. Okay,
Oh my God,
$1.
$1.
$1, yes. And I am very, very proud of that because if I tell you all my accolades, but I don't tell you where I come from, it doesn't really count.
That's right.
So yes, I grew up in a very rough environment, and because of that, I feel like that gave me the curiosity to find what else is out there. And we're talking about essentially, this is in the 80s, right? There's no internet, we didn't have TV. I didn't have the exposure that, let's say, our kids have right now. But I did know that there's got to be another way of living, that it was not what I was living. So, luckily, because of that, because my curiosity, I really pushed myself to zone in. And I know, like, we love your story. We love to hear about, like, how you grew up, the challenges you had in school. I would say I had quite the opposite challenges. I had to zone in. And I was the kind of student that I had the all A's. However, I had all A's because what I was living in my house was so violent that my way to escape was to study. That was my escape. I rather just spend time learning and studying and writing. I would write poems and things like that to escape from what I was living in my reality. So I pushed myself to just leave that environment. I started college at age 15. So people would say, "Wow." And I would be like, "Well, ask why."
Wow.
Yeah. So all of those accomplishments I had, they had this underlying reason. It's just like I had to make it work, right? So I identify so much with the underdog because an underdog to me, it's somebody that you just make it happen, right? You know that challenges have been given to you. It's not on you, but because of that, you have endured the opportunity, you have endured the challenges and you have developed a success system that is proprietary to you. You made it work, right? So I just love that we have a space so that we can inspire people coming from that space, like, hey, we're all in this together, right? So my endurance to challenges have been a multi chapter story. So I became a lawyer. I thought that life was going to be, with happily ever after. But no, the recession hit back in 2008. And then I was an attorney, and my clients were in the real estate business. So we all went downhill, and I found myself restarting. That's when I moved out of my island, which is Puerto Rico, age 30, I have never been outside of my island. I had to learn English after being an attorney, a trial attorney as well. So, think about this, having this proficiency in your language that is just like a juris doctor level, and then coming here and speaking like pollito chicken, gallina hen, it's you, you lose your identity, you lose your confidence, you lose your contacts. And it pretty much, I was just here. It was my husband, his family, with a lot of things that I just didn't know. It took me 9 years to be comfortable to grab a microphone. If you would ask me to do what we are doing right now, which is impromptu, hey, Alex is sick, come to the mic, I would say no. I needed like weeks ahead. I needed to learn the language, to read about it.
Wow.
It was a lot. So one of the first celebrations that I say, one of the first things that make me super, super happy about AI is that I no longer need to feel like I have this crutch of not knowing how to say a word or not using my words correctly. I have now a toy that I don't have to bother anybody, and that toy, which is a translator, works for me 24/7. So anybody that is watching this that is bilingual will relate with the fact that when you are bilingual, you know that you're going to mess up, right? So I'm
Yeah.
going to mess up. And then talking about that, Joe, not everybody is diverse enough or kind enough. And I have been told by even like clients, like, hey, I told you, you don't pronunciate the word like that. You say this, you say that. They're not really mindful of the effort that it takes when you're translating. Sometimes like people just make some faces like, what? Or, so I did learn how to make fun of myself. And by making fun of myself, I would just alleviate that pressure.
That's right.
We just speak, whatever it takes. If I will say the words in reverse order, it's okay. At least I'm showing up, So yeah, that's my story with the underdog. And in terms of AI, I mean, can we just talk about how confident you feel when you know that you don't have to be perfect in grammar, but this thing is going to help you
Oh
to
God,
get your
yes.
point across?
It's just like my story. You've heard my story, and I don't know if I've told my story on this, and I'll tell it real quick also, because the reason we have the underdog AI for the underdog is because we were underdogs at one point. Now I've heard your story, and it really what's crazy is you were this trial attorney. And do you know my favorite show of all time? I don't even know if you know this because it's my generation, is Matlock. So
Ah.
Matlock was a trial attorney for like murders and stuff, right? And I love that show. And it just amazes me that you got straight A's. When you said that, I was like, how do you spell A? But I'm kidding, of course. But I think the highest grade I ever got in school was maybe a C minus. I was pretty much all F's. Like people know, not everybody knows, but I flunked kindergarten. I'm bipolar. I'm ADHD. I'm dyslexic. I had all these things against me in school, so I was in the special class. The short bus, and
Mhm,
so I would be bullied all the time. And and not only was I in that class, but I had a stepdad that like shaved my head. Like he
mhm,
would shave me and my brother's head because he didn't like hippies. It's the 70s, 60s, and 70s. A
mhm.
lot of we're all hippies, and I would go to grammar school with like cuts on my head because he was shaving it so close. Not only was I like ridiculed because I was like in the class where they considered everybody to be stupid, right?
Mhm.
They would call us that, but I looked stupid. My head was shaved like
Yeah,
crazy, crazy. And so I went to that. So I only made it to the ninth grade because I couldn't do school the way they taught back then. It's more visual. Now, since then, of course, I've created like several multi-million-dollar businesses because I'm very street smart. So, like, just like you're very intelligent, Jessica, and like you're very book smart, and you know all this stuff because in order to be an attorney, you got to be really smart. You got to remember all the stuff when you take the bar
mhm.
exam, right? Unless you're on that movie, The Suits, you don't have to take it if you have a memory like that, right? That's another one of my favorite movies, man. It was awesome.
I love
But
it. It was
I
awesome.
had to learn. I had to learn how to study my own way and how to learn my own way, which I did, of course, right? I've
Yeah.
learned how to do it, and I'm very good at what I do. But you're right. Like, I don't know. Listen. I know what a verb is. It's an action word, right? I don't know what an adjective is or all these other things. I don't know where you put quotation marks or all that. I just never learned it, and it was never that big of a deal to me. So my company, we just did Google Ads thing, and like paper PPC advertising. We
Mm-hmm.
didn't do like a lot of things where you had to write blogs and all that because I'm not a writer at all. AI comes along, and here we are now, just like you said, because of the translation of your what you're thinking in your head,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what English is like. I don't even know what that feels like because I don't speak two languages. I barely speak English,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's kind of cool that we have this tool now, this AI tool that will write for us, and instead of staring at a blank screen now, and you know how like when you're going to write a blog and you got this blank screen, and maybe the idea is you know how to replace a bathroom water toilet water line, right, or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
so like for a plumber, those things burst a lot, and that's how we used to get a lot of water damage when I owned a restoration company. So you replace those water lines, so you use a keyword, and now there's a keyword, and now you got to write a whole article on this. So
Yeah.
you're doing reference and all this. Now, all basically, if you know how to do a prompt, if you know how to tell the AI what you want, we're getting blogs 3 to 7,000 words, right, in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
as you know, Jessica, that is not the finished product. But now we don't have a blank screen. So that's where AIO comes in, optimization, part of AI, and you optimize it. So tell me the story of how you use it in your company.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so in our company, the first thing, well, we all use it at the personal level, right? So
Yeah.
if I'm sharing some sort of like quote or anything that I want to share for my social media, make no mistake, I'm gonna be just texting my like using the voice command, and I talk to my app, right? And then one of my latest commands or prompts, it's like, hey, I need you to help me to get my point across.
Yes.
And then I love it because I can ramble. I can just put my thoughts in a very disorganized way. And then the chat actually makes me think. So that's that right there. I know that, prompting can be very much robotic, but when you use the AI tools for critical thinking, they are amazing. I know
I
that
know they are. I
most tools
know.
have received a lot of like bad reputation, and one of my goals from the time that I'm with you, it's that I really hope that people who are watching this episode in particular, they actually please cut it out with the bashing of the tools. You have to be open-minded, and you have to really explore the critical thinking capabilities of AI, which are really, really amazing. So on the critical thinking, I start with like helping my brain to just empty all the thoughts. Entrepreneurs are fast thinkers, right? Like when you're an entrepreneur, you own your business, you're always on it, you're always thinking about, hey, what else can I do, or can I do this, can I do that? So emptying your brain and having the opportunity to receive your brain in a fashion matter where you can actually start a conversation with another human, that's perfect, right? I think my husband is loving it the most because I when I talk to him, I have just more clear thoughts.
Yeah. There you go. It's pretty cool that like I've been using it the same way you're using it, right? Like, there's all kinds of AI tools out there now. We use content at scale for like blog posting, but we'll use Chat GPT for short sentences. We'll use it Chat GPT does a lot if you know how to do the prompt correctly and you know how to ask it. And in our episodes, we're going to be teaching you how to do the right kind of prompt. We're going to be doing that when Alex is back next week. He's very good at that. And we're going to start showing you, because basically all AI is a personal secretary. Now, if you just go up to the secretary and you say, hey, write me a blog, well, about what?
Yeah.
So you got to give your secretary some context, right? You got to
Yeah.
tell them what you want it about. Do research on, divorce lawyers in Miami, Florida,
Yeah.
right? Because I need to write an article for a divorce lawyer client that I have. So now she knows that she's going to write an article for a divorce lawyer. So you just told your secretary what to do. And the cool thing about let's say she writes something, your secretary, and you're like, hey, that's pretty good. That's like 700 words. I like to get it more like 2,000 words. Could you add more content to this? Same thing with AI. Can you give us more content? Can you give us bullet points? Give me 10 bullet points why hiring a divorce attorney in Miami, Florida is important, is more important, is extremely okay. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm getting a divorce, right? I know I got a wife that's going to divorce me. She's going after the best lawyer. I'm going after the best lawyer because there's going to be a battle, right?
Mhm.
And so I want to get the 10 reasons why you need to call the best attorney in Miami before your spouse, right?
Mhm.
So something like that. So when you tell your secretary that, she researches it, writes 10 bullet points. You tell AI that, and then within 10 seconds, you have 10 bullet points that blow you away.
Mhm.
So are you seeing the same thing as I'm seeing?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So one of the cool things that I'm finding with AI is that before I opened a marketing agency, for 5 years I was a marketing coach. So I have a lot of wireframes and a lot of presentations and a lot of content that I created to help entrepreneurs to define what's your why, what's your brand, how can you generate leads, what is your business plan, business model. All of those things I have. So what I've been doing is I get to put my proprietary information, and
Yeah.
I get to create different like mini products with that. So one of the things we did lately, it's I gave a presentation, I recorded it. From the transcript of that presentation, I was able to organize an ebook. Then we use humans to expand on some of the topics, basically like ghostwriters, and we put back the information and we generated a book. Actually, I have it with me. It's 100 Ways to Plan Attraction. This is an example of how you can use AI as a tool, but keeping your copyright. Why do I say this? Because that's another area that can be complex, right? If you're using AI, but you're using it and AI is generating your strategies for you, and if you don't have the proof that it's your strategy, you're risking it that somebody else will
Right.
claim that they have the rights. So I'm teaching my clients that, hey, now more than ever, you can actually create what we call in our industry brand authority content. You can
Yes.
elevate your brand because anybody else will be able to write SEO based, but nobody can write the brand authority content, which is instead of the what, lead with the why. So topics that are in the why, right? How can you compare this versus that? Or why is better to do this or that? That will require your input as an expert. You can still use AI, but it is important that you insert your expert advice. So that's one thing that we're doing. It's our approach is called 50-50, the 50-50 AI. And we find ourselves spending hours in the process of helping our clients to unlearn what they have learned, because out there's a lot of misinformation about AI. I feel like a lot of marketers rush to create prompts and digital products because they just wanted to make money. Like
Yeah.
Alex says all the time, it's the wild wild west. So you're gonna see that. It's just like when email marketing came up, right? If we didn't have email marketing, it was all about like traditional mailing. But
That's
email
right.
marketing came, and then that was like a big thing. And then one company opened, and then many other companies opened. until you start having the spams. And now, we had to push back with email marketing. So it's the same concept. I think, historically speaking, AI as a tech advancement, it's not new per se. We know what's coming. So we know
Yeah,
that it's the season of the Wild Wild West. Then there's going to come the regulation. So we need to be ahead of that, and we need to be responsible and understand, so that we can teach to other people. So we are leading with that 50-50. So we are using it for strategies. We're also using it for a lot of internal stuff. Like, hey, sometimes, how many times, I don't know if it happened to you at your agency, but leading teams can be like a daunting task, and you have so many communications. So having the opportunity to just dump all the communications there, let's say that you want to play catch up, just put all the conversations, whether it is on ChatGPT or Poe, and again, the critical thinking will come back, and you have a recap of the conversation. And now, as a leader, I can be more present. I can just, short my time, the catch up time. It can be just in 1 minute versus 1 hour, right?
that's
So,
right.
yeah, it's just trying to cut time, trying to be more efficient with time.
You were talking about the brand, right? And so what we're doing is this, like authority, right? Like authority is very important. That's the A in EEAT.
Mhm.
Authority is extremely important to Google because they want to show authoritative websites. So what we've done, and maybe you've done this before, I get all my new clients to build them a website page with their name. Now, if their name's taken, they're going to put their initial in, or maybe their age after it or something, right? They're going to have a single page with all their knowledge, all their experience in, because if it's a carpet cleaner, they've been cleaning carpets for 30 years. We've had these many truck mounts and all this. So you have this whole page. And then on your website where your blog is, right? Like you always have that, the authority person, the person that owns the website with the authority. You have a write up at the bottom of every blog with their picture and them, and that links to their website page that's about them, and that links back, right? And so now Google's seeing this authority. I don't know hardly anybody that's doing this. So because to get authority, Google needs to know about you. So all your certifications, because you're not going to do your about at the end of your blog when you're showing you're the authority. Hi, I'm Joe Crivello Sorensen, and I've been in the restoration industry for 27 years, and I sold it, and I did my own marketing. So there's my authority for an agency, right? For
Yeah.
service businesses, and I have this like 2 paragraphs. But on a page, it could be like 2,000, 3,000 words, and plus you're showing all your certifications and timelines. So
Yeah.
now Google sees all this authority that you have on this subject. And
Yeah.
so it kind of helps. So we're doing that at our company. And I think what you said is the key point. People are, look, I have friends that say I'm working with the devil now. AI, right? And the problem is there's no getting away from it, right? Like you're either gonna head and feet jump right into it and do it like I did, or you're gonna sit back and wait, and by then it's gonna be too late. Yes, a lot of people are gonna lose jobs over AI, but a lot of people are gonna get jobs because of AI. I think it's gonna equal out, and I think if you're not starting to think about using AI yourself and getting involved in it within a year, you're not even gonna have a job.
Yeah. Well, there's another actually cool thing that I have found, and I love when we get to work with clients and then they understand that we're kind of like doing experiments with AI. At this point, search engine marketing, it's pretty much again the wild wild west. So
Yeah,
everybody's doing experiments. So let me tell you what I have found with Google. So as you know, Google has their own AI, right?
yeah,
So
hard.
what I have found, there is actually like I did this optimization for a new business using the Google Maps, Google My Business, right?
Yes.
So we optimize it. And for anybody that is watching and they're not familiar with how to get access to the beta program of Google AI, you can just sign up using Google Labs, like a laboratory.
Yeah, LABS.
Yes. So when you sign up doing that, then your display, your search options are going to be different. So because my search results are different, get this one, Joe. So we optimized her page essentially last week. As of yesterday, when I was searching for the business name, so I could show her the impact of our work, then Google had already created a feature snippet for her, okay, as a local business. And this is a business where basically she owns a hair salon, right?
Yes,
Location based, but she also has a Shopify because she also sells products. She has extensions, wigs, all these kind of things. And I was in shock because when I pulled out what Google shared with me about her, it did say, hey, this is the business name. The owner is Lily Marr. She also has a Shopify business and
oh my
she's been in
gosh,
the industry for 8 years. So the reason I was just trying to understand, where is Google getting all of this information to create a feature snippet, that it doesn't really happen like before AI? You would not gain like that
yeah,
feature snippet in years unless you would just publish a lot of articles, right? Now Google is gathering that. So my tip for everybody that is watching this is be very mindful of how are you going to position your authority, because Google's algorithm now is looking for that.
that's
So
right,
your idea to put it on the blogs is brilliant. I would say, in addition to that, make sure that their Google My Business has the information of
yeah,
their bio, the many accolades if they have it. Now we have to really position that. And I think that in my case, based on the experiment I'm making, I wonder if it came like that because we're using the Google Maps, right? So maybe like using that, Google platform as Google Maps and feeding that with that content created a feature snippet more quickly.
that's
The other
right.
thing to notice is now in the Google My Business, you are allowed to integrate your social media.
Yep,
That's a new thing, and it's also basically the display when somebody's searching for beauty salon near me or hair color near me. The display now has the feature snippet, the map, and then it has the social media and the post. And that takes us to another thing, Joe. It's now that anybody and their mother and their grandmothers, regardless of their underdog status, can be a writer. It takes us with the curiosity and exploration, like, wait, does that mean that we should then emphasize video more? Because the robots can write like me if you program them, but they need this, right? I am, there's no way that you can fake energy. There's no way that you can
that's
fake
right,
your authority. So that's another thing I'm telling my clients too. It's like we need to make sure that your authority is matching up with your consistency. I think that gone are the days when marketing agencies would be just providing services without that customization or humanization of the message. I think humanizing is going to be a most. And then again, from my experiment, Google is favoring that humanizing aspect of the work. So
that's right. And
yeah,
I've known that from I've known that for quite a while now. Also, that's why I was talking about build you a page and put like everything you've done that has to do with this authority. Like Google
yeah,
sees that, right? Like we do, just like you do Google. It used to be called Google My Business. Now it's Google Business Profile. I wish they wouldn't have changed it. Google My Business is so easy to say. Now you got to think about it. Google Business Profile. But I have, as you know, I have 41 employees now because
mhm,
we do a lot of work and we do Google Business Profile for our clients like you do, right? And you're right, daily posting, putting the right stuff in there, and knowing that you just can't put junk in something because that can hurt you. You could have like 50 really great things and put a junk thing in there and it hurts everything else
yeah,
because Google doesn't want junk. Google is getting smarter and smarter by the day.
yeah.
And I read this talking about Google. I read this story about Amazon. What's the guy's name that owns Amazon? What the heck's his name?
Bezos,
What is
Bezos.
it? Bezos, yeah. I read this story in the very beginning when Paige and the other guy there's two of them, right, that started it. And so he invested $250,000. I read this yesterday into Google, and it was like, Google was worth like 5 cents a share or something.
Uh-huh.
They were saying if he still owned that stock today, that 250,000, it would be worth $22.5 billion.
Wow.
So I was, because you talked about Google, and I was thinking about that story. I was like, dang, I wish I would have known them then. But who's going to wait that long when you can get 1 million or 2 million, right? People cash out. But anyway, we we understand as agencies, like you own Marketing for Greatness, I have Top Click Joe, and we understand that authority is extremely important now. And when you use AI, that is your here's your canvas, and we just started. We drew the outline, and then you paint inside, right? So once you have that outline and you're looking at it, you no longer have to just stare at a blank screen. But you're right, that's why we call it AIO for optimization, because if you don't put personal experiences in there or add things to it and you got to do something that a lot of people aren't doing, because I've talked to a lot of people, is you got to really check those outbound links, because they're not all factual, right? You got to check the facts, man. You can't be given false stuff. So you got to see what you're doing, and you got to take what you get from AI and make sure everything's true. And just like you guys, and I know you guys do it because I know how smart you all are, and my writers, do the same thing. It's very important to us that we're giving high quality work, just like you are. But AI, I would have never had the Ultimate 16, as you know, Jessica, because we didn't write blogs. We weren't doing SEO. And because of AI, it's opened all these doors for me. Now, both of us are speaking on stage in March because of AI, like in your town in Austin, Texas. That's crazy. I mean, we're talking around the people like, Elena Cardone, the billionaire, right? And you all know her husband, Grant. And is her name Lisa Copeland?
Lisa Copeland, yes.
Lisa Copeland. There's some really big Matt Wolf, right? All these really heavy hitters are going to be up on stage, and along with us, right? We get to do our part too. Without AI, this would not be happening. So while people have been waiting to use AI, I jumped on it and on Black Friday 2022 and have never looked back. Right? Like I've never looked back. I don't think about things. I saw this thing and I'm like, I've been hearing about this. What is this? That's when I bought Jasper, right, on Black Friday. And then I found Content and Skill about 6 months later. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is like a keyword, and I get a blog. And
I also would like to talk about pricing. I think one of the great, another great thing about AI, and I think we both agree on this, is we have been able to be transparent about the tools we use, and we pass the savings to our clients.
That's right.
And I think that for the most part, I think that there is this stigma that the moment when you call yourself a marketing agency, people immediately feel like, oh my gosh, it's going to be very expensive. And I think that, without diminishing our services, we can say, hey, it is affordable. Thanks to AI, a micro business owner can build a business, can work in their dream, can get themselves out of their situation where they are. Let's think about like that single mom, right? Single mom that is just trying to make it work. It's just trying to make some extra money on the side. That young adult that cannot afford to go to college because it's too expensive. Like we are here in Austin, Joe, in a house crisis. Okay, you have a situation where basically the salaries that these young adults get paid, let's say it's $70,000, between all the taxes and the money that they take home, it's really not enough. But then you have these giant rents that they have to pay. So there's not enough housing. People actually need to live around outside of Austin because there's no way to live here. It's not affordable anymore. And then why does this matter? It matters because if as an agency, I need to hire local talent, I cannot just not pay them for what they need to do to live. So there is this ripple effect where you just simply cannot afford to hire too many local people because of the economy right now.
That's
So
right.
with AI, we're able to get like find the best of both worlds, find talent that is affordable, and still give our clients an opportunity to get a very great high quality product that they don't have to pay 10, 20, $30,000, because I've seen those contracts, and then it scares me. It scares me. I remember I was working as a coach with one of my clients. They were a franchise, and this agency in town, I saw the contract. It was $27,000 per month. Can you believe it?
Oh my
Per
gosh. For
yeah,
what was that for again?
it was I would say it's one of those cases where it's very stuffy in terms of the how the SOW looks like. So it's one of these things where they have like these 7 pages of deliverables. The bottom line, it was essentially SEO and PPC. um the ad spend, it was about 7,000, so they were banking 20 grand in services. um
Wow.
and I will say, thanks to AI, I'm going to call them out. I'm going to say, you guys will be out of business because business owners are getting smarter and understand that you don't need $20,000 to have a marketing team.
That's right. That's right. Like, look, I go up against that all the time, just like you do, Jessica. And like, my new system with the Ultimate 16 that I'm doing, I tried to make it very affordable. That's why I did it. But in order to do it, right, I had to have enough people to do all the work because we're doing 16 different platforms.
Yeah.
And so I found that, I use just like you do sometimes. 90% of my employees are in the Philippines, but these are all college graduated professionals that are unbelievable. Let me tell you something about the Philippines. Now, I've owned a brick and mortar businesses, right? I've owned a restoration company for 27 years, water, fire, mold, roofing, and all that. I've had plenty of hundreds of American employees over the years I've employed. They're all really, really great. But I have all these clients like you do, and I'm listening to how hard it is to get good labor now, right? Because people don't want to work. They want a whole bunch more money. So the owner can't make any money. So why be an owner if you can't make any money? So I had to go, in order for me to pass on great savings like I'm doing, I had to get talent over there. Now
Yeah.
I figured it out. I'm very good at hiring over there, as you know, right? And
Yeah.
and you're right. Instead of me saying I'm going to charge you $27,000,
Yeah.
right? I'm passing on the savings just like you guys are. And look,
Yeah.
I don't know you as well as I do Alex, your business partner, but I've spent several months with Alex now, and I've learned that there's all these geniuses around the world that are sitting in these rooms that nobody knows about hardly, right? And Alex is a genius as far as doing prompts and things like that. The guy is unbelievable.
Mhm.
His knowledge of SEO is it's over the roof, man. It is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
It's that critical thinking, right? It's that critical thinking that is needed in order to reverse engineer how humans think and
That's
how they,
right.
and it's just reverse engineering psychology, right? It's neuromarketing as well. So many people think that online marketing, it's all about creative. Don't get me wrong, the creative part is important. And this morning I was thinking about how to educate people about the importance of creating tasteful content. Can we talk about Alex Hormozy? Are you following Alex
Oh
Hormozy?
yeah, Alex. In fact, I just bought his second book, and I signed up for his third book that's going to come out in 2024.
Awesome. I personally think that he is definitely leading the way when it comes to content creation, content syndication, and repurposing the content. I
That's
was
right.
watching these commercial actually of this AI tool that they were using Alex brand as an example, Alex Hormozy, and shockingly, this commercial was kind of like demystifying or kind of like outlining the strategy and how many pieces of content they put per week. Alex Hermosa's team puts about the summary, the number comes to like 270 pieces of content per week.
Wow. Wow.
Per week. So I'm going to challenge our viewers to think. Imagine that there's no, like, you had all the resources that you had, right? If you were going to spread about almost 200, let's say 300 pieces of content per week, like that's 1,200 pieces of content per month. The stretch of that, I don't know about your clients, but my clients, when I tell them that they need to create like 5 videos, they flinch.
I
um,
know.
we are not talking about 5. We're going to be talking about 1,000. Like, that takes us to think in another level. That is actually stretching our creativity. That is stretching our storytelling abilities. And now there's no excuse. We can
That's
all
right.
go back to school and train on storytelling, on neuromarketing, the psychology of, building brand authority, the psychology of persuading somebody. And I'm watching him and I'm like really, really, really considering, like, now we have to train our clients that our team can help with helping you scale with content, but the content pieces need to be even more. So Joe, get ready, because I think your packages are coming short, and we also need to, like, upgrade our packages, because I think people are going to want the Alex Hermosis, strategy.
Well, the reason, so I have 9 riders now, right? And so I am preparing for that. And so I do know what's coming. You were talking about video, right? So I teach my clients how to do video of the, because most of my clients are service businesses, right? So
Uh-huh.
I teach them how to take their phone and
Uh-huh.
just, you don't have to even show your faces. Walk around let's say
Yeah.
it's a carpet cleaning job. You walk through the house, look at the stains, move the couch over so you can see the stains. We're going to be getting rid of all of this today. And so you show it, then you stop. And then as you're cleaning, maybe you do another 30-second video of how clean it's coming. And I show them how to do that and the finished touches. And then I tell them, look, at the end, if the client says she loves it, get that client on that video telling you how much she loves it. And, everybody's going to say, oh my gosh, I need to get perfect. And no, people are getting smart. Raw videos work way better than perfect videos now, because those are movie stars that you hired.
Yeah.
Real people are not perfect.
Yeah.
We aren't. They're not even perfect. They're just acting perfect.
Yeah.
So then what I did is I tell all my clients to buy. Have you ever heard of WeTransfer, that software?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, because WeTransfer, you can do it. You can do the video in WeTransfer and then transfer, because they're always having trouble. Like it won't. I can't send it right when they're not using that. So I
Yeah.
got everybody using WeTransfer, and that's what we do. We try to create a video a day for our clients, or our clients that are doing the Ultimate 16, right? Like every day we try to create something. If they don't send us something, we make one up,
Yeah.
right? Like an infomercial or something about their
That's so
stuff. But you're right. Like Alex is, follow the people that are making $100 million a year
yeah.
and emulate what they're doing. Do what they're doing because
Yes.
it's working,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so you're
Yeah,
right.
another thing that is working very good in terms of, like, how can we create content at a larger scale, so that your marketing agency has work for to do for you. I'm telling my clients to leverage Instagram and Facebook Live. In
Yeah,
fact, what we're doing right now, it's part of it. It's part of the
that's
strategy.
right.
Because what's going to happen is you have these long conversation, but that long conversation can be, like, basically caught in different clips. And
Yes,
at some point, from, let's say we talk here for 50 minutes, from 50 minutes we can definitely get out of ourselves, maybe 10 clips. In fact, we use this tool, vidyo, or vidio, or something like
yeah,
that you just put the link, the YouTube link, and it creates the chapters, the clips, it edits the videos for you. And it's just very crazy, because now we think about that. You have the video, the tool actually can help you to create the transcript. And from that, we can use either Content Scale or ChatGPT or Poe, and then turn that into the long form content.
that's
Or
right.
when they have a team that is doing that for them, my team actually overseas, it's asking me like, hey, can we just really have access to the clients? Can we see their videos? Can we, because we need to factor that human addition to the work that we generate. And this all ties up to the eat, and part of the brand authority, which is where we
That's
started,
right.
right? I always just think, how brand authority is getting redefined by Google, and how, as digital marketers, we need to be mindful of that. And then we need to create content that will put them on that first page. And now with AI, is that feature snippet. Like I'm just blown away with that feature
That
snippet.
is awesome. That is
Yes,
awesome that you did
yes,
that. We've seen that for two of our clients already, right? Like we've seen it a couple of times, and I was trying to figure out. I had my team trying to figure out where did it come from. It's
yes,
almost impossible to know, like because Google's just grabbing stuff, and so if you're at omni-channel marketing, man. I mean, that's the word for 2024. You need to be
yes.
everywhere, not in
Everywhere.
one place anymore. And
Everywhere, every day, every hour, right? Because think
I
about
know.
it, like how Alex or Moses' team can push out like 1,000 pieces of content. Like the day that the week, the month only has 30 days, right? So how does that work? Like that means that you are basically every day, every hour, in every platform and sharing something. I mean, it's just like unbelievable. And I'm going to challenge creators to get as close as possible to that number of reps. And even if you do half, you're still going to be doing more than what your competition is doing right now.
I'm sure you do this, Jessica. I just hired my second team member. I have two people now that all their only job is to repurpose content everywhere. Like
Nice,
when we do it like this right here, right? Like right now we're on 9 different platforms right now. We're streaming live, right?
nice,
Because I got it going to like my YouTube channel, my Facebook. We got it going to Alex's. We got it going to the AI for the Underdog platform. So no matter where we're at, people see us. Now we can take this and put it on, like this can go on LinkedIn. Like I've really started, once I got interviewed by Content at Scale and people started knowing, that's how I met Alex and you, by the way, right? Like I got into AI and all these great things are happening. In fact, Alex and I met a cybersecurity coder, and that's the hardest coding there is, cybersecurity. Now he's on board with us and helping with stuff. And I'm meeting all these really cool people. And it's just without AI, none of this would have been possible.
Oh yeah,
None of it.
yeah. I think it's one of the other areas that I say it's very very important. And I don't think enough people talk about this. You hear a lot about like motivation, inspiration, let's 10x your business and things
That's
like that.
right.
The reality is that when you are growing a business, you have your left brain and then your right brain. And the left brain is in charge of the sales, the goals, the action. It's packed. That takes more brain power versus the right brain. And one of the greatest things that AI will do with your brain health is you are actually creating that dopamine. You just get
I
that like
know.
playful sense, and then adding that into your working routine, it's going to help you to become more productive. You are not going to end the day and be like, oh my gosh, I need to escape. No, actually, the routine will feel just smoother. And then when you even like meet people that are just experiencing that, I just feel that it might be just like a fantasy, but the people who are actually pioneering this, we are on the same wavelength. It's time to
Right.
really mean it when we say let's work smarter. Let's actually care about mindfulness. Let's care about like how do we invest our time and then make more money. Like why not, right? Like there's a lot of there's a lot of everything for everybody. So
That's right.
leaning more in that abundance quadrant, it's just going to be more sustainable for entrepreneurs. So I'm very excited. That's another thing I'm seeing more and more for 2024. It's just that Now that we know that we have AI, I'm constantly looking for ways to optimize my life. Optimize, like if I'm getting like all of these emails, yes, I can hire somebody to manage my emails, but what else can we do so that that person, even though it's overseas, they don't have to work like harder either, right? So it's just optimizing our lifestyle. So I'm very excited. Can we talk a little bit about that? And like, how are you optimizing your lifestyle?
So, it number one, I used to just do Google ads, Facebook ads, Microsoft Bing ads, that
Yep.
kind of stuff, right? And I was probably working, when I say actual work, right? Like I'm always doing stuff, but
Uh-huh.
maybe 10 hours a day I was on it with me and George. I had just George as an employee. Now I have 41 employees. And do you know that I have to try to figure out what to do now? Because everything is on automatic because of AI. And I'm like, I'm nowhere near as good as my riders now, right? Because they've all taken the craft class, and they're all really good. And we're and I have a new way that we pay riders. We used to give them a salary, and I noticed that they would be behind on stuff, and some of the stuff wasn't as good. Now we pay per blog post,
Oh,
right? And what it is, it's got to pass inspection, and they get paid. It's the smartest thing I've ever done. And now maybe not the smartest, right? I married my wife, and I'm still married. That's probably the smartest thing I ever did. 43 years of being married, right, is kind of a big deal in May. But, I'm finding that my lifestyle is way better. Like, we're going to go have coffee here right after this, my wife and I, with friends and stuff. I don't really, my workload is, the bigger we get, right, the bigger I get,
yeah.
of course, I can't handle all this work, so I got to have all these people. And
Yeah.
because of AI, it's given me the opportunity to hire these people now.
Yeah.
So now I'm in a way better place because of it. And
Yeah.
so, how about you?
Yeah, so I'm definitely like having more time, but also I would say that time that I am saving from doing the monkey work, I'm now like reinvesting it in creating digital products. I'm reinvesting that time in learning about AI, which sometimes that can create like this issue with having way too many options.
I
Um,
know.
it's a lot, right? So I have this like boundary around the learning. It's like, okay, I learn it, let's just launch, right? Which is, you guys are the perfect example of this, right? You started, like, you and Alex start talking, and then hey, like, we just have to do something with our content, with this information, let's do a podcast. So we need to be very mindful with our time, especially the learning time, because with AI, again, and this has to do with our right brain. Because of your right brain, it's actually getting this boost. You don't realize it, but you're having fun and you're learning without even like having to focus so much. Which is why now schools are bringing AI. They realize that our brains need that boost of dopamine to absorb like the information in a much different way. It's just more exciting. So we just have to put that boundary so that you're like understanding, okay, I want to be watching more videos and playing with the chat GPT and the images, but
Yep.
somebody has to do the other work. So I
Let me
also
ask you something. You
yeah.
know a lot about brains, apparently. So I have three screens. And so I'm
Uh-huh.
trying to figure out what this means. I have three screens. On one screen, I always have a video going. I'm always learning something, but I can work while that's going, and I can absorb it while I'm concentrating on this too. What is that? What part of
So
the brain does that?
yeah, so it's called conative brain. The conative zone. So you're basically, everybody can do that, but not too many people like really train themselves to do that. Because technically speaking, your brain is capable of absorbing
That's right.
messages in different ways. So now, right now, to do this example, right? Right now, you are listening to something, you're smelling something, you're hearing something, you're seeing something. So all of our senses activate sensors. The thing is that when we process, we have this pattern and we this belief that actually they come from school. In school, you are taught that, keep quiet. Everybody needs to be quiet. Everybody needs to just read the board and type. In reality, that's just very limiting. In reality, our brains are capable of absorbing things from the right, from the left, passing all of these, different pathways, and then create emotions and create the experiences. So you are an experience-based learner. And that's to me, that's what explains that,
Yeah.
you're an experience-based learner. And then you're visual as well, because probably those were the accommodations that you were given. I'm a little bit different in the sense of, I think because I didn't grow up with TV, I didn't grow up with too many like stimulation.
Yes.
My default is like, hey, I don't need music. I don't want any stimulation. I actually like shut down my phone when I get myself into the zone.
I
And I
get it.
love using the concept of the power hour. So in that power hour, I just like get on the zone, and I promise you, I can do the work that will take somebody 8 hours of work in 1 hour of power hour.
That's awesome. And I don't call it power hour. That's a great name for it. But when I like, I'm building a website for a new client right now, even though I have website designers, right? I understand solar and roofing, and I'm working on this thing, but I can't just work on that. I got to have something. I have to have, like you said, like I am that kind of learner. That's why I didn't do well in school. They didn't teach that way.
Yeah, no, they
Right,
did.
like it was never like real visual, and I'm visually. I watch a lot of YouTube. Like I might have to watch something 5 times. You might have to watch it once, but I'm going to understand. The cool thing about only sleeping 4 hours a day is I have plenty of time to do stuff nobody else has to do. So I learn like that, right? And so plus life experience teaches you. But I always have something going. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm always learning something. And it's funny you talked about Alex Hormozy, because I just bought his other book yesterday because I saw an ad, and his stuff him and his wife are brilliant, man. They're like brilliant the way and they're no different than me and you, Jessica.
No.
They just stuck to this exercise deal, this niche. And then he got involved with money and all this and teaching other things. But all of us can do $100 million a year
Oh
or
yeah.
more.
Yeah.
All of us.
Yes. I mean, that's actually one of the things I feel like it comes from a page of Grant Cardone's book, the playbook. Like Grant Cardone says, listen, I'm here to make money. We have tapped into multiple industries. He's not limited. That idea that people have, oh, I have to be a niche, people will get confused. No, if today you want to do car sales, you do car sales.
That's
If
right.
tomorrow you want to be doing love and relationships and coaching on that, do that, right? It's really a matter of being ahead of the pack by exploring the trends that are available, and just surf the wave. Like there's, and I think, there's a lot of shaming around it. If there's anything now more than ever that has changed, is the way that we make money. I'm actually one great example. When I quit from being an attorney, my colleagues were just shaming me, like, "What are you doing?"
I
And
know.
it was back in 2008, and I said, "You know what? You know what I realized?" I told them, I realized that if I want to practice law in the United States, I would have to go back to school. I would have to actually get my license again. And if I move to another
Whoa.
state, I will have to do it once again.
Again.
So I said, that makes no sense. And in addition to that, mathematically speaking, I still owe student loans. I mean, like the career, the long-term career, financially speaking, makes no sense to me. And I told them, I said, I see the digital economy as a booming opportunity that I just have to do it. And this was back in at the time when nobody like really was using Facebook for business. And I was right, So AI is part of the digital economy that
That's
has
right.
replaced the way that commerce is done, and this is not going to change. We probably should be wrapping up at some
Yeah,
point.
because there's one more minute. But listen, we're talking about AI. I bought this new tool yesterday. It's called Designer with 2 R's, and
Okay.
it creates ebooks and flip books. Right, like I can send them all the work, all the download the words, put it on a book, and it'll make a flip book for me. I haven't studied it, and I just bought it because it was a good deal. So
Nah.
now I'm going to go in and get these flip books made because people like that, right, for info and stuff. But anyway,
That's cool.
Jessica, it was awesome having you. It's been an hour. It's awesome having you here today. I hope Alex starts feeling better because I know when us men get sick, right? Like we got a little cold. It's like having a baby for us, right? So we're like dying, right? When we like a little sniffle, right? So, and I understand that, right? Because I'm the same way. And I'm like, oh, babe, I tell my wife, I can't, I got a sniffle. I'm not going to be able to do anything today. And, like women are like, well, I'm going to walk 5 miles in the snow with the same sniffle. Right? Jessica, thank you so much for being here today.
Yes.
Appreciate it. I hope everybody enjoyed this, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Same time, same place, same underdog channel, same bat channel, same underdog channel. Later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.